Food brings us life and joy, but sometimes, under the strangest circumstances, it can also bring destruction on an unimaginable scale. From rivers of juice to explosions of cheese, these disasters were caused by food in ways you won't believe. Buckle up as we dive into the top 10 natural disasters caused by food. Number 10. The exploding cheese. When you think of dangerous road cargo, goat cheese is probably not on your list. But in Norway, 27 tons of caramelized goat cheese turned into a literal firestorm. In January 2013, a truck carrying goat cheese was passing through the Bratteli Tunnel in Norway when disaster struck. The cheese began to overheat, and within minutes it burst into flames, creating a massive explosion. The fireball was so intense that it took firefighters 5 days to fully extinguish. Why did this happen? The cheese's high fat and sugar content made it highly flammable, similar to petroleum when heated. The incident caused widespread panic, closed the tunnel for weeks, and became a legendary example of how even the most unexpected items can be dangerous under the right conditions. Number 9. Whale bomb. Exploding whales may sound like urban legends, but in 2004, this horrifying scenario became all too real in Tainan, Taiwan. A 60-ton sperm whale, already deceased, was being transported through town for scientific examination when crowds gathered out of curiosity. As the whale's decomposing body was lifted onto a truck, pressure from internal gases built to dangerous levels. Without warning, the whale exploded, drenching over 600 spectators and nearby shops in blood and internal fluids. The scene was both shocking and grotesque, with local residents quickly donning masks to manage the overpowering stench. Scientists explained that the explosion was a result of trapped gases from decomposition, a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Number 8. The juice flood picture. One day, the streets of your town suddenly turn into rivers, not of water, but of tropical juice. In the Russian town of Ledyan, that's exactly what happened when the roof of a massive soda factory, owned by Pepsi, collapsed unexpectedly. Millions of liters of brightly colored juice gushed out, flowing into nearby rivers and streets. The town was filled with the overpowering scent of pineapple, apple, grape, and mango. For a brief moment, it felt like something out of a surreal dream, or nightmare, depending on how sticky your shoes got. Though the flood caused no major casualties, 2 factory workers were injured, and the spill disrupted the town's routine. While some locals found humor in the bizarre scene, the incident served as a reminder of the unpredictable dangers hidden behind everyday products. Number 7. The poisonous Yellow River, England. In 2006, an eerie event unfolded in England when a tributary of the Parrot River turned bright yellow. The cause? A massive leak of Shanny Delight juice concentrate from an underground storage tank. This wasn't ordinary juice. It was a highly concentrated version used in production. Over 8,000 liters seeped into the river, turning it a shocking yellow color. Soon after, fish in the water began dying in large numbers, creating an unsettling sight of lifeless fish floating amidst the yellow liquid. Thankfully, authorities acted quickly to contain the contamination before it spread to larger water systems. However, the incident left a grim reminder of how industrial accidents can have devastating consequences for local ecosystems. Number 6. The Caramel Flood. In the small town of Santa Adelaide, Brazil, residents faced a disaster straight out of a candy-making nightmare. A fire at a sugar warehouse melted 28,000 tons of sugar, turning it into molten caramel that flowed through the streets like lava. High temperatures from the fire caused the sugar to rapidly liquefy, creating rivers of sticky caramel that firefighters and residents desperately tried to contain. It took over 70 hours to extinguish the fire and secure the area. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, though 17 people had to be evacuated due to damage to their homes. The town was left with a sugary mess that some residents couldn't resist sampling. While the incident became the talk of the region, it was also a sobering reminder of how quickly a simple spark can escalate into a full-blown catastrophe. Number 5. The Whiskey Inferno. In 2000, Kentucky's famous Wild Turkey distillery became the scene of a fiery disaster when a warehouse holding 177,000 barrels of bourbon caught fire. As flames engulfed the distillery, over 1 million liters of whiskey spilled into the nearby Kentucky River. The blaze was intense, with fireballs lighting up the night sky, and authorities feared the contamination of the local water supply. While the city's drinking water remained unaffected, the river's fish population wasn't so lucky. Over 200,000 fish perished due to the alcohol pollution. Locals took a darkly humorous approach, joking about a happy hour on the river. Despite the jokes, the environmental damage was severe, marking one of the most memorable disasters in Kentucky's history. Number 4. The molasses spill. In 2013, a ship docked in Honolulu accidentally released 233,000 gallons of molasses into the sea, creating a deadly environmental disaster. Unlike oil, molasses sinks quickly to the ocean floor, where it suffocates marine life by depleting oxygen levels. The result? Over 25,000 fish and other marine creatures perished, devastating the ecosystem. Cleanup efforts were nearly impossible due to the thick, syrupy nature of the molasses. Experts labeled the incident as one of Hawaii's worst environmental crises. The sight of dead fish littering the seafloor was a grim reminder of how human error can lead to catastrophic consequences. Number 3. Raining apples. In 2011, residents of Coventry were stunned when apples began raining from the sky. There were no nearby apple trees, leaving many baffled. Experts suggested that a tornado may have ripped apples from orchards miles away, carrying them through the atmosphere before dropping them over the city. While no one was seriously hurt, the falling apples caused minor damage to vehicles and left many residents scratching their heads at the surreal event. Number 2. The beer tsunami. In 1814, a massive beer tank in London exploded, releasing over 600,000 liters of beer into the surrounding neighborhood. The beer tsunami swept through homes and streets, knocking down walls and flooding basements. Tragically, 8 people died in the chaos, and dozens were injured. As the floodwaters receded, locals seized the opportunity to collect beer in buckets. Despite the humorous anecdotes, the disaster remains a sobering example of how industrial accidents can turn deadly. Number 1. The Great Molasses Flood. In 1919, a storage tank in Boston holding 9 million liters of molasses suddenly burst, sending a 7-meter-high wave of thick syrup crashing through the streets. Traveling at 56 kilometers per hour, the wave swept away buildings, vehicles, and even people. The disaster claimed 20 lives and injured over 150 others. Cleanup efforts took weeks, as workers struggled to remove layers of sticky molasses coating the streets. Investigations revealed that the tank had been poorly maintained, and the company was forced to pay a significant settlement. The Great Molasses Flood remains one of Boston's most bizarre and tragic disasters. That's all for today's video. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.